Alrighty, everyone, welcome back. So, today's the day we are officially starting our standings predictions for the 2023-2024 season. And let me just say, this will be a very interesting division this year because the Atlantic is going to be incredibly competitive. It is going to be an absolute bloodbath. Just because, you don't, like, everyone in that division, I'd say, is going to be competitive. Even the last place team. It's going to be a very competitive year, and it's such a hard division to predict. Absolutely. So we'll start off with number 8. We're going to go from 8 to 1. I have the Montreal Canadiens finishing 8th overall in the Atlantic this year. Last year I had them finishing 8th, and they finished 8th. Unfortunately, this is probably going to be the third straight year of them being last in that division. However, I do think that, this could be the last year of them being 8th. It really could be because they are a team that I look at and, they have been improving over the past couple of years, getting high draft picks. It's going to be another year of really stacked drafts. And I think Montreal is going to have a good shot at getting another really high draft pick because they just don't have the roster yet to compete. And that's not a bad thing either. They've been developing their prospects. I still think they have a decent roster. Ken Hughes has done the right things and the right moves to create a team that is competitive, and he signed the right guys in free agency, acquired the right guys via trade, where he can flip them off for assets. So he's done a good job at that. But this is probably going to be the last year of them being really, really bad, and then we'll start seeing some improvement in the coming seasons for sure. Number 7 is Florida, and people aren't going to like that either because they were the Stanley Cup finalists. I had them finishing 3rd last year, and as a result, they finished 4th. I predicted they were going to have a major regression. And they did in the first half of the year, but then they came back and made the playoffs. And then following that, they made their run to the Cup Finals, damn near got to a Stanley Cup, but then Vegas got in the way and beat them in 5. So, again, I don't see them as a playoff team anymore. And maybe I'm underrating them a little bit. Maybe I'm underestimating them. But I just can't see it with the injuries they're dealing with. Even with Matthew Tkachuk fully healthy on that roster, I just can't see them making the playoffs again. I truly can't. And it's not good either because they don't even have their first round draft pick. It's just going to be a very concerning future for them in Florida. I really do think. Number 6, I have Detroit. And people aren't going to like that either because Detroit, people have profiled the Red Wings as the team that is going to shock people this year, is going to surprise everyone and make the playoffs. I can't see it. I really can't see it if I'm being honest with you. I just realistically, yeah, they solved some of their problems, but they didn't solve all of them. Getting Alex DeBrincat definitely helps. Goal scoring was a big factor in Detroit, and that was the reason why they just couldn't get, they weren't that consistent of a team for a while. And I had them finishing 6th last year, and as a result, they finished 7th. And a big part of that was their goal scoring. Getting a guy like DeBrincat's for sure going to help, and they acquired some good depth guys like Gostisbehere, and Daniel Sprong and such. That will be good moves at the trade deadline. But I don't think they are planning to become a playoff team this coming year. I really can't see it. I think they're going to be 6th. But again, they've been progressing in the right direction. This should be at least the last or second last year where they're out of the playoffs. I think after that, they have a good shot at making it for sure. Number 5, I have the Buffalo Sabres. And the Sabres are another team that people really think is going to make the playoffs this year, where I just also really can't see it right now. I had them 7th last year. I don't know how the hell I had them 7th, but they finished 5th. So they really showed a sign of positivity and a great sign of progress. And don't get me wrong, their forward core is great. The defense leaves something to be desired outside of Power and Dahlin. And the goaltending's just in a weird spot right now. I'm going to be honest. I know Sabres fans say that Devin Levi is going to lead them to the future in the promised land. Sure, he will. But I really can't see him leading him to the playoffs this year in his rookie season. I really just can't see it. And it sucks for me to say because I like Levi, I like the Sabres, but I just can't see it this year. I think they'll come close again. Maybe they'll barely scrape in, but realistically, I can't see them making the playoffs. I really can't see them making it this year. It's going to be another year of pain, and then the following year, they'll make it. That's what I really think. At 4, I have Boston, and Boston's going to take a huge drop-off this year. There's no question about it. Last year, I had them 4th, and as a result, they finished 1st because nobody thought they were going to have that season they had where they were 1st in the league by 30 points. That was an unbelievable year out of Boston. And I don't know if I'll ever see that again. Honestly, that was such a good hockey team. And the way they lost in the first round really killed them. They lost a lot over the offseason, losing their captain, losing their center core basically. It's going to be a lot, and we'll see how they do. But I think they still realistically are a playoff team. It's just not going to be as easy as it was in previous years. And honestly, everyone says, oh, Boston's going to suck this year and next year and the year afterwards. We've been saying that for like 4 years, and they're still good. So honestly, I'm going to stop saying it until they're actually bad. I don't think they'll be bad this year, but they're not going to be as good as they were last year. They're going to be fourth. Heading into the top three is where I'm going to get some controversy. At number three, I have the Tampa Bay Lightning. And the Lightning, obviously, I think they're still realistically a cup team. I think their window is closing a little bit, but they're still realistically a Stanley Cup team. I look at this roster, they still have a good team. Kucherov, Stamkos, Point, all of that is there. Vasilevsky, Hedman, they still have an elite roster. The only thing that I'm worried about, though, is Steven Stamkos. This could be his last year in Tampa, realistically, and I do want to make a video on that. I probably will very, very soon. But with Tampa, that's an interesting thing because if your captain leaves, then, I don't know, their window might be closed. But, this could be the last year where we see Tampa taking legitimate shots at a Stanley Cup. They lost in the first round last year, and I've said so many times before, it's good they finally got a full summer to heal, and now I think they'll definitely have a better shot than last year at making a run to a Stanley Cup. 100%. Number two is the Ottawa Senators, and people are going to lose their minds over this. I had them at fifth last year, and they finished sixth as a result. And it was a year where they were terrible. They weren't terrible. They were better than they were in previous years, and we thought they were going to be so good, and it just wasn't that. But it was a year where they got the pieces they needed to be great, and now this should be the year where they finally make it. Where they finally make it into the playoffs. They finally get over the hump. Now, if DJ Smith and the team starts off bad, Smith is gone. There's no question about that. I have made so many videos talking about how, I think DJ Smith is going to leave Ottawa, and if they start off bad this year, it's 100% going to happen. So, I definitely expect that. But finally, at number one, I have Toronto. And the Maple Leafs, I had finishing first last year, and they finished second because Boston just came in. But Toronto, realistically, they're still a really good hockey team, even though they lost some pieces. They got Matthews locked up. This could be the last year of William Nylander, but we shall find out. And hopefully, Toronto, obviously has another really good year finishing first in that division. Realistically, then, they would play like Boston in the first round, which would be very interesting. But, obviously we shall find out there. But that is my predictions for the Atlantic Division. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, that subscribe button down below. I really appreciate it. Tomorrow, if I'm correct, we have the Metropolitan Division. So definitely stay tuned for that. But anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.